Hello, lovies. This is Christina with Karma's Eye Psychic LLC here on Universal Spirit Podcast. We are still in the middle of our magic series, and we are on episode 9, and we're going to talk about the magic of kaftans. So if you're unaware of what kaftans are, they are like dresses or Middle Eastern African dress, for regular people, and they get fancier and fancier, the more wealthier you are. So kaftans are more like made out of natural fibers. It's dated back to thousands of years ago, where it's like men and women kind of appear to be both of them wearing dresses. So they didn't call them dresses, they didn't call them robes, they called them kaftans. And you can see these articles of clothing throughout the Middle East and Eastern African part of the world. And you're probably wondering, kaftans, magical? Well, just like any robe or dress worn during magical rituals, kaftans are just as magical, because practitioners have set aside, like I've said before, specific clothing for rituals. It could be for particular rituals, or it could be anytime they're doing any type of magic. The idea of expressing colors, patterns, and symbols onto your clothing is a powerful way to capture your own magic. If you ever wonder why sports teams and political officials wear like uniform clothing, also with cults and stuff like that, well, their uniform serves a purpose, and this is how we can recognize them as a group, right? We can all agree that we know the Dallas Cowboys are silver and blue, the New York Giants are blue and red. Like, this is how we can distinctively tell. So wearing these articles of clothing is not only imprinted into the subconscious, but it also gives your spiritual team some type of conditioning to know that, when this form of dress is worn, that this is what we're going to do today. And then the clothing holds a certain type of magic and a certain type of power when they're intending to do certain things. So you can do it during ritual work and then wear it out in public with the intention of the magic that you had just created, right? Also, it gives your spirit guides and your ancestors, better to give you signs. So if you wear gold and black, and that's the color of the dress that you wear during rituals, then gold and black will be a sign that your manifestations are coming true, right? So it does help give you like a signal to the universe as to how things are going to be going, right? To how to figure out what the answer is, or whether something pertains to you or not, right? So certain colors and designs are subconsciously embedded into us to know what these uniforms mean, such as judges, cops, referees, and etc. In earlier centuries, tribes and nations were recognized by the way that they dress. People still today, in other countries, actually I would say every country but the United States, right, has like a dress for their country, right? Mostly Middle Eastern countries, when you have like the burqa, you have Afghan and etc., right? More so ceremonial dress and the dress of political, royal, and spiritual leadership. For instance, you have like the voodoo priest or priestesses, they wear all white, right? So we know what religion that they pertain to. These dresses invoke the honor, respect, and fear that they intended from the people or persons they were meant to encounter. In earlier centuries, these garments were blessed, cleansed, and protected, and also charged as well, right? They were often kept away from other pieces of clothing, such as today we wear our formal wear or Sunday best or our Sunday clothes, right? Kaftans are a spiritual tool to ceremonies, rituals, and special occasions. This form of dress was meant to carry with it a sacred vibe or power. Just like when you have like sports teams saying that, oh, I wear my lucky underwear, or people say I wear my lucky shirt for this and for that, so my team can win. And even though it falls under the guise of clothing, for those of you who've been following me, I do wear a certain pair of boots to court. If I have to go to court for any reason, I don't care how big I get or how swollen my feet are or whatever, I will wear that same pair of boots to court, to every type of court hearing. I don't care how big or how small. Even though it's not a kaftan, it's just an example of spiritually charged clothing. Okay, and I never lose when I wear those boots. So that's something to think about when going into ceremonial magic, and also going into situations such as weddings. You wear what you wear for celebrations, and what you wear for funerals, and what you wear for, like baby showers and stuff like that in celebrations. When it comes to ritual magic, it's no different. You might wear black during baneful magic. You might wear white doing, road openings and cleansings. You might wear red when doing love and sex magic, and etc. Right? The wearing of these garments can be seen all around the world. Although they are common as a simple line of fashion, its original intent was to be distinguishable from the crowd. So there are, rumors or, just ideas that, witches or practitioners of magic or, astrologers or psychics to purposely wear certain types of clothing, as if, today you see there is a bit of a ancient aesthetic, right? So if you saw somebody now in 2023 walking around in ancient garments, you would assume that, oh, they must have an old soul because they're attached to this old type of clothing, right? So kaftans were originally, created for the sake of ceremonial magic and distinguishing yourself from other people in society, right? So it'd be like the witch of society. If everybody was wearing gray, she'd be the only one wearing pink, knowing or needing to stand out, so people could more so recognize, them if they wanted to be, right? Because they, also colors carry an aura. I tell people all the time, get to know which colors work for you. What colors go well for you? Which colors don't go so well for you? You might want to avoid those, okay? And understand your energy, understand your planetary placements as well. A lot of Capricorns who wear black, we seem to do very well, but a lot of Capricorns who wear red tend to become angry rather than sexual or passionate. So you got to really know your astrological placements to really get your head into a good space of doing ritual magic. And the color and pattern, the meanings of kaftans are definitely one of the things you can do. And of course, back in the day, symbols, right, were drawn on these pieces of clothing, unlike how we could have prints today being printed and having all these different graphics and stuff. They were handmade dresses, which made it even more magical because it's, made by your own hands with your own intentions. And if you are to study Ukrainian magic, there's a sewing, ritual that goes into their clothing. When you sew your clothes, you're putting magic into your clothing, which I did in fact talk about in previous seasons on this podcast. If you want to go check that out on Ukrainian magic. All right, lovey. So that's it for this episode. So meet me in the next episode when we talk about some other things in regards to magic. We're going to talk about mania, birdhouses, familiars. We're going to talk about dirt. We're going to talk about it all. So please like, share, follow, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this episode, please, follow this podcast and let me know what you think about it. If you had any questions or even some comments of your own, let me know. All right, lovies. I'll see you later. Bye.